I've never seen so many people in my life, you know. The world hasn't seen so many people ever. The largest gathering in human history, the Kumbh Mela Festival. I'm in India. I'm like, I can't sit in this box another day. So I was like, all right, like, just man up, take an Imodium, like, get dressed and just go.
When you go to a foreign country, obviously there's going to be culture shock and you have to, you know, get used to it. But with India, there's no such thing as culture shock. You have to forget your own culture because everything is so different. There are no similarities, basically. You have to adapt. You know, you're just thrown into this mess of people. You're just thrown into this culture that you don't even understand, you know, and you just have to go with it.
John Maring, along with Patrick Wallner, organized this trip to India where it's kind of focused around this big festival that happens once every 144 years. So that's what spawned the idea. So we figured we'd go to India in February so we could hit the festival and to be able to come here on a skate trip, it's a nice way to incorporate two things you want to do.
It's just a beautiful place, you know? It's obviously crazy. It takes a little bit to get used to like feeling like you're gonna die when you're driving. They're really good at driving bad.
A lot of just animals running around free. As many people think we do in Kansas City, there aren't cows just walking around everywhere. They're almost like rats or something. Yeah, you just see them around. They're just roaming around, eating garbage, laying on the sides of the streets. They're everywhere. Pigs too. We go eat at these restaurants and we eat and it's like it's good food, you're like, oh yeah, it's cool, and then you look in the kitchen and the kitchen's just disgusting. No one uses silverware at all, so it's all just like stirring pots of food with their hands, and you know, it's kind of sketchy.
You're playing Russian roulette with every single meal, and you just are hoping that this one's going to be okay too. I think 70% of everyone who goes to India from the West ends up with food poisoning.
Eat one of those, wash it down with tap water.
No. Sorry.
Thank you, though.
Well, Delhi being the capital city, we knew we'd find some spots. We had a few ideas.
I mean, there's some rad spots, you know? It's just kind of like whether or not the ground's gonna be smooth and whether or not we'll get kicked out. But for the most part, we found at least 3 or 4, maybe 5 spots each day, and some of them were insanely good. Every spot we skated, a crowd would form, you know, people were fascinated by it.
Dude, this is more than demos I've skated. It's insane. Look, there's people at the top.
And obviously every spot looks amazing because it's in India.
Well, so we're at this plaza. It's a really good marble plaza, and there's monkeys everywhere, eating bananas. We get up there, we're like, whoa, cool, marble ledges. Whoa, shit, monkeys sitting on the ledges. Monkeys going through trash cans. I think we were too excited about the monkeys. We didn't even skate at first. We just bought bananas and we're feeding the monkeys bananas. Like.
Oh, do it one more time.
The big guy scared me, man. I was a little afraid. So the first skate spot we went to in Delhi was these tile mosaic volcanoes, like everywhere. There's a whole plaza full of them.
It was like an island and it was fenced off instead of being open. And because of that, all the dust collected underneath the freeway.
We don't have a broom, so we're just rolling around, but it's first spot in Delhi, and beautiful spot. It looks like they're taking it out soon, so maybe we'll get the last section in.
We had to be here at dawn because it's the entrance of a bazaar, so we had to come before it gets crowded and before we get kicked out. So we got a little window.
Alright, Mark? He's totally fine, but it looked really bad.
Definitely the gnarliest fall I've ever taken before 8 a.m.
Nice sweater. Who wore it better? I think his. It's like carpet. He tried to hold my hand.
Did he really?
Yeah. Like when I went like this, he was like, he tried to grab it. It's like brotherly love, I suppose. Today we're on a mission to go to a spot where Malto's gonna drop a hammer and we need plywood. And conveniently enough, right next door is a wood shop.
That's what you gotta do to skate in India.
So our taxi driver, he decided for us that we had to go to that spot first because he was scared he was going to get a fine for having plywood on top of the car, which is the most ludicrous thought ever.
I really didn't want to skate that rail for breakfast, but it was like I really didn't have a choice. So we were like, all right, let's just tie the wood to the top, go straight there and set it down and just see what happens.
When we get there, the rail was covered with laundry. Like, the rail was covered with just dirty laundry that they'd washed in this like really polluted river. So we kind of had to, you know, remove all the laundry, clear out the spot a bit.
Man, my sweater shrunk.
You know, people here don't see skating, so they kind of trip out a little bit. So when we set the wood up and I like started to do like flat ground kickflips, all these people started coming from all different places, and it ended up being a row of people on both sides, and I'm skating between them to go at this rail.
Oh, I missed my first two today.
There's probably like 50 people there. On top of that, SIBO had to catch me when I landed because there was a main road, and since it was kind of became like a big circle around this thing, traffic was stopping. So it was like a traffic jam with rows of people.
I mean, there's no moment where there's no cars.
Kind of first spot of the day, but I gotta try this. I can't like go home thinking, oh, I should have tried to grind that rail. I need to get another flight back to India. Delhi was like our first part of the skate trip, and then after that, go see the Taj Mahal, and then go to this Kumbh Mela festival.
So in Agra, we went there for the day, and that's where the Taj Mahal is. So it's like the world's most beautiful building ever. So we decided we should check it out. And, I mean, you see pictures of it, but seeing it in real life, it's like glows on the horizon. You know, it's perfect. And it was nuts. We got a car to drive us from Delhi to Agra, which is like 4 or 5 hours away. Halfway through, we pull over on the side of the road, middle of nowhere, and then Mark's like, hey, anybody see my backpack? We're like, your backpack? No. Apparently he left his backpack at the last piss spot, like an hour up the road, in the middle of nowhere. Backpack had his passport, his camera, everything in it.
Got to the hotel, fell asleep, just super bummed. I get a text message from my brother saying, hey, there's a taxi driver in New Delhi, he has your passport and bag. So I called him up, his name was Atun, and he said, yeah, I'll drive it down. I told Atun that our train was leaving for Allahabad at 9 o'clock, And he said, okay, I'll be there at 8. And it's a 3-hour drive. So I was expecting that he would be there a little bit earlier than 8. But when we got to the train station, he wasn't there. And the phone that I had been calling him on was disconnected or something. So when we got there at 8 o'clock, he wasn't picking up, and I was kind of freaking out, like, damn, he's not gonna come through with this.
It looks like there's hundreds of people on these things jumping on it, so we gotta get in there while we can so we can get our seat. It's a little bit crunch time.
Yeah, it's 9 minutes till departure. Mark is somewhere waiting for someone to bring his lost passport. And
Potentially running.
there he is, yes, Mark! Woo! He didn't get his passport.
It's not there.
This is 10 minutes before we leave. And so I get in, just thankful that I'm on this train, you know? And Nestor says, like, hey man, maybe you should stand on the platform. Maybe he's gonna make a last-minute reconnaissance, you know? I was sure that there was no way he was coming, you know? We had like a minute left.
What time does the train leave? This one.
In 4 minutes. The train's gonna be moving out of the station, you're gonna be hanging out the door, and he's gonna come.
Everybody had said, come on man, just wait out there on the platform. It's gonna be like a movie ending. It's gonna be one of those stupid-ass Hollywood films. And that's exactly how it happened. He came 2 minutes before, at 9:38 or something like that.
Thank you so much.
I can't believe you did it. Oh my god.
1 minute!
What happened? Why were you so late?
Traffic, too much traffic. You tell that your train is 9 o'clock, but I said, okay, no problem, maybe God is with us, the train is late, but the train is at 9:40.
Oh my god.
Always remember, you know.
Today we woke up at 4 a.m. because it's one of the main bathing days for the big Kumbh Mela festival, and this is the biggest one that happens only once every 144 years, and probably the biggest gathering of people in one place in the history of the world.
That's a whole sea of people right there. All that is just bodies.
Kumbh Mela is a giant Hindu festival. It's basically everybody makes a pilgrimage to the Ganges, to the Sangam, where the Ganges and the Yamuna River meet.
Myth has it that Lord Vishnu and his protecting phoenix were fighting off demons over a jar of nectar, and 3 drops of the nectar fell out, and one of them landed in Allahabad, supposed to be this sacred city.
On that main bathing day that we were there was an estimated 30 million people who bathed in the Ganges that day. And the river itself is already one of the most polluted rivers on Earth. Sorry to say, none of us went inside. I think we would have got sick if we did. But we have a local friend here named Porna. He got caught up in the whole spirit, and he just took his clothes off and ran into the water with the rest of them.
Awesome!
The circle of life goes on in that river. Even though it's the holiest river and you want to get in there to appreciate the significance, it is the dirtiest river, so you're a little scared.
The Hindus believe that it's a sort of a spiritual breakthrough where they can only reach heaven if they bathe in the Ganges River.
It was just insane, man. Rows and rows of tents, like just all the different babas and sadhus, like just gnarly people that just running around naked, covered in human ash.
They have no worldly possessions. They pretty much are naked, and they have beards and long hair, and so people just praise them for making that sacrifice, you know. For them, that's like the highlight of their century or year at least, you know, is being there for that festival and kind of celebrating with everybody.
We're staying in this metal shanty town.
It was kind of like a storage room almost. It was pretty big, but also terrible. The walls were made of bison panel. The roof is tin, held up by 2 little sheets of metal going across the whole thing.
But yeah, we were just in a shack, you know. I was really, really sick one night, and while I was laying there, kind of delirious, to me, it felt like an African hospital. You know, just from watching movies, that's what it seemed like. So that's kind of what we called it.
And the past few days it's been storming and pouring rain really hard. And of course, we sprung a leak in the roof and the whole place is flooded. We had to put all our beds together in the corner just to stay away from the mud and the buckets full of water. It's been pouring for like a day and a half straight.
After a couple days, seeming like a couple weeks, came to an end.
Let's get out of here. Like this is too crazy. Apparently, just thousands of people had the same idea that we had to leave.
I think after the rain, everyone was trying to leave, so the whole place was just Camp City. Like everyone, like all the floor space was just filled with people. There's so many people. I've never seen any place ever so crowded. It was nuts. When we finally got on the train, everyone was sick. The whole car was coughing after being in Kumbh Mela in the rain. So yeah, by the time we finally got to Jaipur, we were all wrecked. Like we hadn't showered or slept in days.
It felt like the trip was kind of coming to an end.
We were on a skate trip and we haven't skated in 5 days. So we have 2 cities left. We have Jaipur and Bangalore. And Jaipur is first. So we're going to Jaipur. No one's ever been there before. And we're like, you know, we're all really just excited. 1, to get a hot shower, and 2, just to skate. Finally, we're in a place we could skate. And we're about to take these little tuk-tuks around town and see what this place has to offer.
Tuk-tuk time. These are tuk-tuks. It's one of the easiest ways to get around. They're cheap. You can sit as many people as you can fit in there. And this one's a special one too. He's got speakers and everything. He kind of pimped it out.
And so we kind of drove around Jaipur just looking for spots and basically skated anything that we saw.
Skating here doesn't exist. Like we haven't seen a single skater here, and every time we skate there's just crowds of people around us like watching, because they've never seen it before. And we asked like, hey, have you guys ever seen skaters? They're like, no, never. So, I mean, it's strange to be somewhere where there's no skaters. It's been pretty hard here, but we've found some amazing spots. Proves that you can skate anywhere, pretty much on Earth.
It's made me realize just like how blessed I am in my life to have health and shelter and a home and loving parents and family and friends, you know, food, the most simple things you can imagine. Here so many people don't have. And it's such a beautiful culture and the people are beautiful, and it's been cool to meet people that have, you know, are so interested in us and learning about our culture as I am and we are in their culture. To really get a feel for it, you just have to come here and see it for yourself. I'm never going to experience this same thing again, obviously, and so I consider everybody, I guess I would call it African Hospital Brothers, just because that was kind of like the lowest point that we were at. We all got through it together, and so I'll remember this trip for the rest of my life. So African Hospital Brothers, I'll never forget.